Growing up, I was a huge fan of the Mario games. Like many kids, I spent countless hours playing them, immersed in the colorful worlds, interacting with quirky characters. And as I grew older, my interest in them even deepened. I became fascinated by the story behind the game's creation, especially the inspiration for its characters. This curiosity led me down a rabbit hole I wish I had never ventured into. While doing this, one character for some odd reason captured my attention the most. Wario, the greedy, twisted counterpart to Mario. I began researching his origins, hoping to learn more about the inspiration behind him. My search led me to an old forum dedicated to obscure gaming lore. There, I found a thread discussing his origins. One user, who went by the name 8-Bit Truth, claimed to have inside knowledge. According to him, Wario was not just a character created for a game. He was based on a real person, a disgruntled former Nintendo executive named Satoru Watanabe. Watanabe was a talented game designer who worked for Nintendo in the late 1980s. He was known for his creativity and his innovative ideas, but he was also notorious for his erratic behavior and dark sense of humor. Colleagues described him as brilliant but unstable, often fixated on the idea of creating a character that embodied greed and chaos. As the story goes, Watanabe's obsession with this character grew increasingly unhealthy. He began to see Wario as more than just a creation. He saw him as a reflection of his own darker impulses. After his creation, Watanabe's behavior became more erratic, and he started to alienate his colleagues. Eventually, he was fired after a particularly disturbing incident where he allegedly threatened a coworker while wearing a homemade Wario mask. After his termination, Watanabe disappeared from the public eye. Rumors circulated that he had gone mad, completely consumed by the character he had created. Some even claimed that he continued to develop his own twisted version of a Wario game in secret. Intrigued and unnerved, I decided to dig deeper. I managed to track down a postal code for Watanabe, located in a remote prefecture of Japan. After much consideration, I decided to visit, hoping to uncover more about this mysterious figure. It took days of investigation, but when I found his house, it was abandoned and decrepit, surrounded by overgrown weeds and a crumbling fence. As I approached, I noticed a flickering light inside. I cautiously entered the abandoned house, my flashlight cutting through the darkness. The interior was a mess, filled with scattered papers, broken furniture, and the remnants of old game consoles. On a dusty table, I found a stack of notebooks filled with sketches and notes about Wario. The drawings were disturbing, depicting Wario in increasingly grotesque and violent scenarios. Among the papers, I found a worn VHS tape labeled Wario Experiment 620. Against my better judgment, I took the tape home and played it. There were these plans drawn out for some kind of weird metallic Mario and Wario kill suits on the desk as well. Among the papers, I found a worn-out VHS tape labeled Wario Experiment 620. Against my better judgment, I took the tape home and played it. The video was a homemade recording of Watanabe, wearing a Wario mask and bulky suit, yelling in a distorted, manic voice. He ranted about how Wario had now become a part of him, how the character was more real than anyone could understand. The tape then cut to footage of an old 2D game, a twisted, nightmarish version of a Wario platformer. The levels were filled with grotesque imagery, and Wario's laughter echoing hauntingly in the background. Suddenly the screen went black, and a message appeared. The TV flickered, and for a split second I saw Wario's face grinning wickedly. I recoiled in horror as the TV shut off. That night I couldn't sleep. I felt like I was being watched. Over the next few days, strange things started happening. Objects seemed to move on their own, as well as whispers echoing through my hallway. Desperate, I contacted 8-Bit Truth, who revealed that he had also experienced similar phenomena after researching Watanabe. He believed that Watanabe's team had somehow created a malevolent entity that could transcend the digital world, driving people insane. However, he no longer wanted anything to do with the investigation, for fear of things happening to him and his family. As the days went on, I began to see flashes of Wario everywhere, and reflections in my dreams, even in crowds. His laughter was a constant presence, growing louder and more menacing by the day. One night I received a final message from 8-Bit Truth. It just said, "He found me." I knew then that I had to flee. I left my home, abandoning everything in an attempt to escape Wario's curse. But no matter where I went, I couldn't shake the feeling that he was still watching, waiting for the right moment to claim me. I took refuge in a small town in Tennessee, far from my previous life, and tried to start anew. For a while it seemed to work. The nightmares became less frequent, and the sightings of Wario dwindled. I even made a few new friends and began to feel a sense of normalcy returning. But then one night I was awakened when my doorbell rang. I opened the door to find no one outside and a package on my doorstep. There was no return address, just my name scrawled in messy handwriting. I hesitated, but eventually brought it inside. It had some weight to it, and when I opened the box, I noticed an old notebook. However, when I took out the book, it was followed by a severed human hand, with a tattoo on the thumb reading the words 8-Bit. Horrified, I tossed down the notebook and realized it had just one thing written in giant letters on every single page, with an almost illegible scrawl. It just said,
"You want fun? Wario show you fun."
Ever since then, he has been inside my head, taunting me at every step. In fact, he told me to read this, and I have no idea why. I'm so sorry, I tried not to listen, but I had no choice. I'm truly sorry for whatever it does.